Good evening, traders. Welcome to the weekly watch list where we break down what happened last week in the stock market as well as give you an idea of what we're looking at into the week. So headed over to the key points, and the first key point is the jobs growth that we saw on Friday. I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about why I think we went up on Friday and why I think we can keep going up into the next week. So the new total jobs added on Friday were short of the consensus. Usually the market would take this negatively, but the market seems to have been reacting to inflation lately, so the jobs slowing down would actually help the situation. And that's why I think that investors took this positively on Friday. And remember, right now our biggest fear is that the Fed will tighten monetary policy, which would slow economic growth and recovery, which could definitely cause some destruction to this liquidity-fueled bull market. So at the same time, we're trying to figure out if this is actually realistic, if this actually is going to happen. And we also need to think about the time frame in which it will happen. We also need to remember that the Fed is thinking about stable inflation and maximum employment at the same time. We do keep hearing the conversation about tapering the bonds and a reduction in the Fed bond purchases over time. This is actually a transition to a less stimulative Fed, so it's actually a healthy transition and a part of economic recovery. Now this brings me into the next point, which is the CPI and the inflation data coming out on Thursday this week. And we did see a scare on the last CPI report. We saw a huge miss for the second month in a row, and a third miss could start the conversation for the Fed to start hiking rates. If this does happen, we don't think there's going to be a huge market sell-off right away. Remember, we have a combination of GDP growth, rising corporate profits, and we still have low interest rates. And until we start to see those numbers go down, I think the market will have some sort of reason to keep going. And this brings me into my next key point, and this is the value rotation. And historically, when earnings growth is accelerating following a recession, the value investments have outperformed growth investments. And what did we see? We saw government spending, we saw a stimulus, we saw a bunch of inflation, we saw a bunch of earnings growth. So I'm looking to these value investments to be the winners. So especially going into this week where we have these big emphasis on economic data with the CPI report, I'm looking at these value stocks to keep going. And I don't think we're done. I think the market can start to break out this week, and I think we'll start to get some volume on a week where we have a lot of hype for the inflation report, as well as some hype from the AMC meme stock squeeze that is going on as well. So let's head over to SPY and look at where we are and where we could be heading into the week. And I'm starting off here on the weekly because I really like this candle. This is a dragonfly doji candle, and this is a bullish candle in my opinion. We tested lower prices early in the week and we went higher and closed in the upper third. Headed over to the daily here, and I'm actually looking at this resistance level this week to break. Maybe not right away, maybe I'll get some consolidation, but one thing that I really like about this psychological resistance level at 423 is that the distance of touches to the resistance is getting closer and closer. And we saw volume and some nice candles into the end of the week and a bounce off of this 20-day SMA. At this point, I'm really looking at two things. I'm looking for the break of the 423 resistance, and if we do see some resistance at that 423 mark, I'm going to be looking at that 416.50 support. Like I said, I'm not bearish, so I think I'll be looking for reversal patterns off of this 416 support for the potential to possibly go higher and break all-time highs. So let's go over to the watch list. I've got 6 stocks that I'm looking at into the week, and first off on the watch list, I've got ILMN, and this is a big moving biotech company. It has also been a growth company, but in my opinion, I think they have real value. I think they have real strong fundamentals. They've proven a consistent gross profit margin, and like I said, I'm going to be looking for these valuable names, and this one has just broken out of this range here. And if you want to call this a reverse head and shoulders, it has broken out of the neckline here. I'm looking for Illumina and other stocks like it to start running with it. Next up is AAPL, and if you've been watching my recent watch list, you would have noticed that I have been waiting for this candle, this bullish engulfing candle at this support trend line. And I don't have to speak much about Apple being a great company and has a lot of value, and I think that Apple could have a really good week this week. If we do not gap up, I'll be trading off of Friday's high. If we do gap up, I'll be trading off of the overnight low, overnight high, value area high, and value area low. We will also likely pick up some swing trades. I'm looking at the July 135s. Next up is mRNA, Moderna, and this thing just broke out of have a huge ascending triangle. I don't think this thing is done, and I do think there's going to be some more good news coming out. And remember, these aren't just vaccine companies, they're pharmaceutical companies, they're value companies, but they do pose a different sort of risk. Next up is Dell, D-E-L-L, and this could be one that's ready to run and break out. This is a well-established value company that has had a lot of positivity surrounding them lately. I think this thing could go higher. How much higher? Maybe I'll just double this range here, give it $10 range, $113. I think we can go to $113, $114. If we do see volume on Monday, I think this could be a really good play, so watch out for this one. Next up is Disney, and I mentioned we were watching this on Friday, and if the market gets some steam, this one will actually like to move with it, so I think this one could go higher this week, and you could call this a bull flag, which is a bullish continuation pattern, and this is a higher low, so I'm watching this one into this week. Next up is Microsoft, and this is in another great position to go. I really do like these tech stocks into the next week. I think if we have volume above Friday's high, I think we can go ahead and go touch 255, 256 area at least, and we really haven't seen these tech stocks lead in a while, so if they do, it's going to be really nice. We do need to be careful on the downside as well, make sure we have our levels in play, but like I said, I do think we can go higher into the beginning or the middle of the week. We do have to watch out for the CPI report on Thursday. The expectations are already pretty high for the inflation numbers. They're sitting at 5.7%, so for these numbers to go against the Fed's models, we'd have to see some crazy hot inflation. This is definitely something to keep in mind. A miss would be historic, and it can cause some sell-off. So like I said, I'm going for value over anything. So that wraps up this week's weekly watch list. If you got value out of this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss a weekly watch list or nightly breakdown. If you're new to investing and you're looking for a place to learn and grow with a community, check out the link in the description to join our Discord. And if you're looking for the extra features like trade signals and one-on-one support, then upgrade to TradeFlare Pro. We are not financial advisors, and nor do we claim to be. The stock market is risky. You could lose money. Use the information in these videos at your sole discretion. And don't forget, time is your most valuable asset, so quit wasting it. Get up, get out, and go get it, my friend.